is Jennifer and welcome back to my channel. So today I have a palette dupe video for you guys. I have not done one of these and I feel like forever, and I'm really excited to do this one today because it is a dupe video for the Anastasia Beverly Hills Sultry palette. And the dupe palette, this video is sponsored by Alter Ego. This is their new Temptress palette. And so I'll be swatching these colors side by side. I'll be trying them on my eyes. Even though this video is sponsored by Alter Ego, like, you know me, I'm gonna be giving you my honest opinions as always, no matter what. So let's just get started. Real quick on the Anastasia, wow, okay. On the Anastasia Hills palette, as you are probably familiar, this is a $45 palette. All of her palettes are kind of, you know, I would say like the same quality except for maybe like the subculture drama. And here are all of the colors. And Anastasia, they do advertise themselves as cruelty free. And then Alter Ego's palette, their Temptress palette, looks like this. And oh, the plastic is gonna fall out. And this is what their palette looks like. So right off the bat, the shades do look very similar in the pan, but you never know until you swatch it, you know? This is, I believe, Alter Ego's very first palette that they've launched. They are a pretty new brand, like a brand new brand, I feel like. I believe this palette retails for about $16. They are cruelty-free and paraben-free. And as of like right now, this is their only palette, but I think like their goal is to make dupes of higher end palettes just to make palettes more affordable to everyone. So like if you are familiar with the brand, what's it called? Bad Habit. Kind of like that, where like, you know, their goal is to kind of dupe higher end palettes. So dupes and counterfeits are two different things. This is not a counterfeit. So like a counterfeit, real briefly, is like if you tried to make a palette and claimed it was Anastasia Beverly Hills Sultry. Like if you tried to brand it as this, if you tried to sell it as this, like that is a counterfeit, like an actual fake. A dupe is like you are making kind of your own formula or your own packaging and you are just drawing inspiration, i.e. all the colors from an existing palette. So in the world of cosmetics, I would say counterfeits are bad, like do not use them, you don't know what's in them, versus dupes, I feel like depending on the brand is okay to use. So that's very briefly like the difference between dupes and counterfeits. This is a dupe. They did also hook us up with a discount code. I'm going to list it here and also in the description box below. But like I said, I don't know how this palette performs yet, so I can't honestly tell you if I would recommend it yet. So let's just get to swatching the palette. So there are 14 colors in the palette. This top one is Anastasia. This bottom one is Temptress, the palette that I will be reviewing. So what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to swatch Sultry in order, but then swatch the corresponding shade from Temptress, like right next to it, so you guys can sort of compare and see the difference. So give me a second, I'll be right back and I will fix my camera's focus, I promise. So here I have all 14 colors swatched on my arm, and I swatched them in pairs so that you can do like a direct comparison. So in every pair would be Anastasia, and then this one would be Temptress. So Anastasia, Temptress, Anastasia, Temptress, Anastasia, Temptress. You know what I mean? So going down the line, so let's just start with the shimmers first. I would say these shimmers, the Anastasia ones, I don't know if you can tell, but it got a little bit chunky almost, but the colors I feel like are a little more saturated, especially with this pink. You can really tell that the Anastasia one is more saturated and then the Temptress one is less. However, the Temptress ones are not as like chunky and flaky as the Anastasia ones. Some of the colors, like this one right here, like you cannot even tell the difference. Like this one, they're just so identical. As far as the mattes, I would say for the most part, Anastasia's are a little bit more saturated, especially when you see like the black. So this one's Anastasia and this one right here is Temptress. So for the most part, some of them are the same, but like this pink as well. Anastasia does tend to be more saturated and swatch just a little bit better than Temptress, but it's honestly pretty similar, and how they perform in swatches is not always the same way they perform on the eyes. So I'm pretty excited to see how these perform on the eyes. I'm hoping that using one palette per eye will get them to be kind of the same. Okay, so let's attempt an eye look. I don't have that many brushes clean right now, so in between my eyes I'm just going to be using a color switcher so that I can kind of use the same brush on both eyes just to take that variable out of it as well. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do Anastasia Beverly Hills on this side, and then I'm going to do Temptress on this side. So first things first, I'm going to take this very nude light color right here. I'm going to use that just to set the foundation on both of my eyes. I do not use eye primers. I just don't like them. I don't have any. So I think I'm going to do a bit of like a halo eye today. So I am taking, these palettes are so hard to hold together. Okay, so I'm taking the dark brown in both the palettes, and I am packing that into the crease of my eye. I'm not bringing this too far up because I think I want to use the pink on top of that on the upper parts of my crease, but I'm just packing this kind of in my crease on the inner third of my eye and the outer third of my eye kind of in like a half circle shape. Okay, so now as I am like going back to this, so this is the Temptress side, remember, this is Anastasia. The Temptress alter ego side, I think in the very beginning just went on a little bit patchier than Anastasia did. However, I feel like I still got to the same place. Like I feel like now that, I'm using this a lot, now that I am like building up the colors and kind of just packing this all on my eye and blending it out, I feel like I got there. They kind of look, they look pretty even. And so I think the Temptress alter ego side just took just slightly longer to build up, but honestly, like you can't even tell that these are two different eyeshadow palettes right now. So very happy about that. So now I'm taking the pink out of both these palettes, so this one and this one, and I'm just taking like a very long fluffy brush, and I am packing that, not really packing it, I'm blending this like on top of where the brown is, like up kind of by my eyebrow, smoking this out just so it's not so harsh and doesn't look like I literally have a black eye. I don't know if you guys remembered, but this pink swatched really differently, but now that they're on my face, they're not all that different. I do want to zoom you guys in real quick. So I've spent about the same time, I feel like I'm not close enough. So I feel like I've spent the same amount of time blending the pinks between this side, which is Anastasia, and then this side, which is Temptress. I actually feel like the Anastasia side is harsher. So the Temptress side, I felt like up here, blended a little nicer than Anastasia. Did you see how like this is super harsh? I mean, I can just like keep working at it, but at this point I have like put in more time on Anastasia's side to blend out. So, you know, pretty impressed so far with the Temptress like dupe palette. Okay, so now I'm gonna go into this like silvery color, so this one and this one all the way up there, and I'm taking these just on my finger and I'm just gonna tap this into the middle of my eyes, kind of where I don't have very much eyeshadow yet, and these should perform well because I'm using with my fingers. I absolutely love this silver. So alter ego side, Anastasia side, I feel like they performed about the same, which was expected because they swatched like basically identical. So I'm just going back in with some of like this dark brown and blending a little bit in. I felt like I maybe went a little too crazy with the silver, but just a little bit, just so it's not like, you know, very obvious where I like stuck my finger into the center of my eye. So just doing some blending. Okay, I'm really gonna need to watch this later. I feel like right now they're pretty identical, except for like the blending on the top. So I'm going to pop on some lashes. Actually, let me just do my lower lash line quick while I have ya. So I'm just taking that same brown as I used up here, and I'm just using that to smoke out the bottoms of my lash line. I didn't want to get too crazy here. Just want that to be smoked out. So that was Anastasia's. And then this side is alter egos. So performing down here about the same. Okay, so I think at this point I'm done piling colors onto my eyes. So I'm going to pop lashes on, finish the rest of my face, and then give you guys sort of my final thoughts on the dupe palette. Okay, so I just finished my look quick. This is probably the brightest lipstick I own. I don't know why I went for it, but I went for it. So briefly on the eyeshadow, I think you've basically heard everything that I'm going to say. Bottom line, before I even like get to the nitty gritty details, is for $16, hell yeah, I would recommend this compared to the $45 Anastasia Sultry palette. It's just like, it's less than half price. I feel like as far as the shimmers went, I did get a tiny bit of fallout under here just from tapping the silver onto my eyes. During the swatches, you saw that the Anastasia shimmers tended to be a little bit flakier if you're not careful versus the Temptress. So I actually like the shimmers better in the Temptress than the Sultry. As far as the mattes and blendability though of that, you can see that, I don't know if you can see actually, I don't know if the camera is picking it up, but I can tell in person, which means that, you know, maybe it's not that big of a deal, but the pink is like more vibrant and more saturated in the Anastasia than in the Alter Ego. However, I had an easier time blending that pink into the brown in the Alter Ego versus the Anastasia. Like I felt like once I put the brown on, like I was like committed on this side. There was like no blending it out after that, versus here when I put the pink on, it was, you know, I was working at it and it was blending out a little bit better. However, depending on whether or not you can even see that on camera, it might not be that big of a deal. You know, if you want brighter, more saturated mattes, then the Anastasia's got you a little bit there. But then for blendability, I would say the Alter Ego has just a leg up on blendability. They're very similar, which means honestly, do you need to spend $45 on this? Probably not. Like $16 for this is more than enough. Let me just look at the pan sizes real quick. Okay, so in terms of net weight, the Sultry palette, when you add all 14 colors together, it is 11.62 grams versus the Alter Ego is 18.5 grams. So you're getting a lot more actually in the Alter Ego palette, which is crazy because it's already cheaper. So now that I've taken that into account, like this is like a no-brainer. If you are after one of these, like if you're after the Anastasia palette, I would definitely recommend picking up the Alter Ego one instead, just because of how similarly they perform. Like, why not save a buck and get more product? Like, honestly. So that is it for my video. I'm not sure how long this is running, but thank you guys so much for sticking through this and always watching my videos. I mean, the fact that like I'm able to get sponsorships and free product is because of you and like your support, and I thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for watching my videos, for sticking around. You know, go ahead and hit the like button if you like this video. Otherwise, I will see you next time. Bye!